Hi everyone, welcome back to Bushel Park Golf Club. So today you join me on the 13th hole. We're going to play 13 and 14 today in this video. And we're going to look at ways that we can help you out with scoring on these two holes. So 13 first, par 3, straight oval pond in front of the green. From the whites here it plays 170 yards. From the yellows we're looking at more like 155, 160 depending on how far forward or back it is. Big thing to consider here is the wind. The wind does swirl a lot around this top part of the golf course, so that you can get onto this hole and it comes straight into your face and it's going to change the club you're going to hit drastically. What I would remember though is always remind people that long is not a problem on this hole. All the danger is short. Bunkers right and left are both from the front portion of the green. The pond's good 15 yards short of the front edge of the green as well, so if in doubt, go longer. There's nothing really to contend with when you go past the flag or past the green. And unless the flag's right at the back, the chip back's not too difficult either. So there's always the first thing to consider. If it is in to win, don't be scared to club up and commit to a shot. Second thing, if you can't make the green, don't be worried about playing up short and chipping over. I have a lot of people we play in Captain Pro matches who do exactly that. They'll play short, they'll take their next shot and chip over, and they'll walk off with bogey or double at worst. So 170 yards today, pin's tucked on the left hand side. It's in to win, so I've clubbed up. I'm going to be playing my shot heart of the green and let it drift back towards the centre of the flag. So I've short-sided my approach shot, started the flag and sort of turning off and just overdone it. So I've finished left of the left-hand trap. Doesn't give me loads of room to work with because this pin's tucked on this left-hand side, but the lie's okay, so I can get plenty of loft to the ball. So really I've got nothing to stop me from hitting the shot that I want to hit here. So the fact that we've not got a load of greens to work with means I want to come in from higher. So I'm going to set the club face a little bit open. And I'm going to play what we call a finesse wedge. We've done a finesse wedge a few times on this series, so it's long and slow. So we're really using that drop in speed to control the distance, but the length of the swing is just going to help to get the ball airborne and get it moving forward with some height. We need a certain amount of swing really to be able to pop the ball up high enough, and just dropping the speed just allows me to be a little bit longer with that swing as well. So club face a little bit open, ball forward, weight forward, and it's long and slow, and this ball pop up in the air. Now this time of year we can get some sort of ropey lies where we've sort of got some little bare patches or some muddy patches. Ball can quite easily sit into those, so I know they worry a lot of people, but you've really just got to know how to adapt to it. So it doesn't stop me playing some high shots, it just makes it a little bit tougher, and I've got to change some criteria to how I'm playing it. So first thing I would do is we want to be setting the ball up towards just a little bit towards the neck side, so I can get that neck a little bit lower into the ground. I'm going to open the face up a little bit and just push the hands forward. It's just going to lower this leading edge down into the golf ball. So if we keep a wedge square, we have what we call bounce at the back, which we use to stop the club from digging in. But when we're on these bare lies, we want this club to get down. So I'm just going to open the club face and lean the hands forward. So one offsets the other, but it just allows that leading edge to sit down nice and tight. And that's going to help me to get some loft to the club still, but be able to get the club to dig down and pop the ball up even from those sort of bare lies. Now just remember though, because it's on that bare lie doesn't mean that it's not going to come out high, but it won't come out as high as if it was on a good fluffy lie. So it is going to come out a little bit stronger, a little bit flatter, going to release a little bit more, so you just have to adapt to where you're going to land this ball. So for this shot here, we'd be landing it towards really right on the front edge of the green if I had this on a ropey lie, just to let it release out. The fact that it's on a decent line means I can land a little bit closer to the flag, but I've got my club face slightly open, ball forward, weight forward, club long and slow. So I'm left with a 4-foot putt for my par, but before I have a go at this, I'm just going to talk about this green itself. So the green is kind of slightly higher on this back left corner and certainly slightly lower on that front right portion. So it does all go slightly uphill as you go from one side to the other, which does mean that if you do miss it long left, it is a slightly tougher chip, but you know, compared to being short, it's certainly an easier option. And also, just note on that tee shot, anyone that's hitting a cut, you know, the carry on this right side is shorter than the carry on the left hand side. So most people will generally aim left to allow it to cut back. But just remember, it's a longer carry over this left-hand portion. So if you are somebody who fades the ball, like I said, just get yourself right up here. Don't go about going too far long. Give yourself a chance of chipping yourself back. So I'm putting slightly uphill here. This bunker, it does roll slightly off this bunker, but nothing major from where this ball's lying. It's pretty straight. So I've lined my ball up in the middle of the hole, and as always, just going to follow my routine. So practice looking at the hole, set myself up, look at the target, look at the ball, and roll the ball. So on to the 14th hole. One thing I want to talk about before we play the 14th, and really becomes apparent on the 13th, but it's not the ideal place to start trying to practice something like I'm about to speak to you about, but it is something that applies to that tee shot predominantly. So you get a lot of people who worry about that shot because of the water, and they think only about what they don't want to do, and it really doesn't work that way. You know, you're not going to be able to confidently commit to a shot when you're standing there worrying about what you don't want. Okay, the best way to think about it is almost tell yourself that the brain doesn't understand the negative. So when you're saying don't go in the water, don't go left, don't go right, oh I hope I don't go, all your body's hearing is where you actually want to go. It's turned that negative into the positive. That's what you've got to imagine it as. So when you're standing there going, I hope I don't go in the water again, all you're really saying is, I hope I go in the water again. So that's a real key element to playing those sorts of shots over trouble, out of bad lies, all those things. Don't stand there and think about what you don't want. Only talk to yourself through what you do want. So it's okay to identify where the problems are, but you then need to go, okay, but this is my target, this is where I'm going, this is the shot I am playing. And it happens to all of us, you know. It doesn't matter what level you're at. Everyone gets these doubtful moments where they're staying there worrying about what they don't want to do, and they're not committing to what they do want. So back to the 14th though. 14th hole, really is two completely different holes from the yellows or the whites. So playing from the whites today actually makes this a slightly easier shot for some of the longer guys, but the shorter guys are going to struggle a bit, only because the shot's longer to carry, you've got further to go to get to the top ridge, but the longer guys are going to be able to hit it past all the trouble on the left hand side. So we have three alignment points. We have straight at the green, which is over this big tree on the left hand side. You have straight towards the tree on the right corner, and for the shorter guys, you might want to go further to the right hand side than that. From the yellows, you have the same three lines, but all of a sudden you have to create quite a big shot shape from right to left to get it around, working around those trees for the longer guys. Shorter guys can still take their same line straight up the middle of the fairway. I'm going to be going more or less at the green with this one. I've taken a club that's going to bring me short of the big tree. It's into wind today, so it's playing a little bit longer than normal. Usually this will be playing from here, we're looking at 284 to the middle of the green. So I'm not going to be able to carry this all the way there, certainly with this wind coming into my face off the right hand side. But it is going to bring me short with the big oak tree on the right. So I'm going to be aiming in the gap between these trees on the left and the oak tree down the middle of the fairway. And I'm only thinking about where I want this ball to go. I'm not thinking about what could happen, where it could go, what I could do wrong. I'm looking at my target. I'm just visualizing this ball going straight at my target. Right, so I've got 65 yards into this green. Really the hardest part of this hole is, and the bit that protects it the most, is the green itself. So if I'm got a front flag, I'm always better off leaving myself a longer shot in, because I can be a little bit more aggressive with the shot, comes in higher, the more spin, stop a bit quicker. You've also got to adapt it to the time you're playing. So at the moment, the fairway itself and the green surrounds are quite soft. So whereas in the summer we might bump this in and run it in and chase it, all of a sudden that shot's not going to work as well. It's going to hit, and the first bounce is just going to get stopped. So the green's a bit softer, means I can get a little bit more distance up to the flag. So actually being further down actually helps me on that point. I can take some wedges and get some height to it. So I've got 65 yards, playing slightly downhill, so it's playing more like 60, but it is playing into the wind slightly. So I'm going to land this at about 60 yards, which is just short, kind of a shoulder height, 58-degree wedge for me on a pitch shot. Because of this wind, I'm going to play a little bit flatter. It means it's going to hop out for the first bounce, but hopefully we can get this just going just past the flag and coming uphill putt coming back. So I'm feeling the swing length that I need for the shot. Once I'm happy, I'll take my alignment. Now I want it to come a bit lower, so the ball's actually slightly towards the middle of the stance, but still forward in the stance. I'm going to keep myself ahead of the ball. Okay, so my approach was come up a bit short, caught slightly heavy, balls popped out a little bit higher, but I've landed on the front portion of the green, and I've got a putt, but it's not the ideal putt. I'm putting down the slope, but I just want to highlight how quickly this ball will stop when you're coming in from that shorter range, if you can get the height to it. So pitching the ball on the green, I've pitched sort of 4 feet away from where my ball's finished. So he's going to stop a lot quicker this time of year, and it does mean you need to recalculate where your landing spot is. It also means that the closer you can get, the easier the shot is, essentially. You can come in from higher and trust that it's going to stop. When you're further out, it's very difficult to judge what the ball's going to do when it lands on this collar. It will normally kick forward because it is a slight downslope. It will still kick forward, but it's not going to have that same velocity it's going to normally have had when it shoots forward in the summer. So my putt's downhill, so the whole green runs from front to back, and it also runs, this first portion certainly runs slightly left to right, so we're coming off both of these bunkers, so depending on which side of the green you're on, you're going to have a little bit of an influence from the bunker itself. This right edge, this first portion here next to the bunker, is a bit flatter. This left edge is actually built up a little bit more, just where over time the bunker's kind of filling the green in and creating some slopes and undulations. We then have the second portion of the green, which is more where the flag is today. Now the centre part, fairly flat, but it is downhill, it does get quick. Anything coming from one side to the other does bolt upwards slightly on both corners, so there is a few different breaks you can have on this green, but ultimately the most important one is going to be this downhill slope. Now it does make anything that comes up short of this flag a tough putt, but really it's about pace control. So I'm going to concentrate on my pace. From where I am, I'm just a little bit closer to this left bunker than I am the right bunker, so it's going to break from left to right a fraction. But the last 6 feet, 7 feet is going to be fairly straight. So a lot of this break would happen on this first portion. Now because it's downhill, the ball's not going to have loads of speed, so the break's going to hit it a lot quicker than if we had like an uphill putt, which the ball's travelling faster for more time, so it doesn't break as much. So the ball's not going to be travelling particularly fast. I'm going to be concentrating mostly on my line to start with, and then when I'm actually over the ball now, I'm concentrating on my distance control. So what I'm doing, rather than just saying, okay, it's downhill, I'm going to hit it softer, I'm moving my target closer to me, so I'm kind of calibrating the slope based on where I put my target line, or where my landing spot is. So for this, being downhill, I'm picking a spot a good 3-4 feet short of the flag, and all my practice is done to that spot. So I'm not changing the fact that I'm downhill. What I'm doing is I'm making it a flat putt. To change too much, I can keep everything nice and simple. So I've changed my landing area, my target spot. Okay, it's just missed that break on the left-hand side. Pace control, absolutely fine. I've finished level with the flag. Bit of a pull, not going to lie. But I've got my distance controls dialed in, so just pulled that first putt, so started too far left and didn't take the break. So by the time it gets down there, it's a good 2-3 feet left of the hole. But that's the 13th and 14th hole. So next time we're going to look at 15, 16. So we have 2 back-to-back par 3s over here at Bushel Park. Just finish this one off from a par. Again, always taking myself through my full routine. And when you get down to the hole here, this is where you start to feel how much of a slope that you're standing on. So for this putt here, although it's only 3 feet, I'm actually aiming just outside the right edge of the hole. So it's going to break quite a lot just because of that slope. So location of hole makes this hole a real difficult hole indeed. So, but as always, thanks for watching. Happy golfing, and we'll see you next time.